is up, YouTube? Welcome back to Almighty React to Home Sports Reactions. Let me just explain the hat for anybody who might have any confusion. Okay, so can I tell you all the story about how I got the hat?
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care. Let me tell you, we don't care.
Would you like to hear the story? All right, I'm gonna tell you anyway. So it was Father's Day, right? So Father's Day was on Sunday, and my dad actually got me this hat. So, so when he gets me the hat, he has it in a little box or whatever. He hands me the box. You know, here you go. I open up the box, and I'm looking at this hat, and I'm staring at it, and my face is like, and my dad's face is like, and my wife's sitting in the corner like. I told him, Dad, why'd you give me a Dallas Stars hat? He said, well, I know you're into this hockey stuff now, and you know what I mean? So I figured I would get you a Dallas Stars hat. For a lot of you who don't know, for any of my subs who don't know, I'm actually from Dallas. So I know a lot of the OG subscribers know this already, but this is information. So my dad actually got me this hat because he figured since we're from Dallas that I'd be rooting for the Dallas Stars. Interesting story, right? I hope you like it. All right, so let's get straight into this video, man. All right, so this is gonna be a long one. I might break this into 2 parts. I'm not sure, depending on how much time we have. I actually have to head out in a little bit, take care of some stuff. But if I can get through the entire video, I'm just gonna try not to pause it too much. Let's find out how every NHL team got their names. Let's get straight into this. All right, let's go.
The NHL was founded in 1917 and now consists of 32 teams. But originally it was founded as a 4-team league. Back then, a handful of smaller leagues all competed for the Stanley Cup. Now only the NHL remains. The name NHL, or National Hockey League, comes from it being a hockey league. Duh. But also the nation that was originally being referenced in National Hockey League is Canada, where
nice.
the league began. That's how the NHL was named. Now here's how every team got its name. We have a grouping right at the top that's called the Original Six. These 6 teams were added in the first decade with many other teams and are the ones that survived both the Great Depression.
Wait, I'm confused. He said the Original 6. But I thought it was originally a Canadian league. You have Boston Bruins, New York Rangers, the Detroit Red Wings, Chicago Blackhawks. There's only 2 Canadian teams on there. I don't understand, but okay.
In World War II, as the league dwindled down to 6 teams by 1942. That's how these teams got the nickname the Original Six.
Okay.
But only one team of the Original Six predates the founding of the NHL itself, the Montreal Canadiens. Founded in 1909, the Montreal Canadiens were an original member of the hockey league called the National Hockey Association. This league would eventually fold because of disagreements between the team owners, causing some owners to leave and start their own league, the NHL, in 1917. The Canadiens are the only team remaining from that early NHA league. The name Canadiens was chosen because the team was conceived to specifically be a team for the French-speaking Canadians. That is why Canadiens are spelt C-A-N-A-D-I-E-N-S.
I always wondered that, yeah.
I-A-N-S. The I-E-N-S is the French spelling, and the full French name of the team is Les Canadiens de Montreal. An incredibly apt team name, especially for the oldest on our list. They kept their name when they joined the NHL for the inaugural season in 1917. The Toronto Maple Leafs were founded in 1917 for the inaugural season of the NHL, making them the second oldest NHL team still around today. And they are the only other one that is still in existence from that very first NHL season. The circumstances around the founding of the NHL play into the name of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Originally in the NHA, Eddie Livingstone owned a team named the Toronto Hockey Club, often called the Blue Shirts because they wore blue shirts or sweaters.
Yeah.
The other owners wanted to kick out Livingstone, but were unable to based on the league's founding ownership rules. So instead, the owners voted to suspend the NHA indefinitely and founded a new league, the NHL, without Livingstone. Still wanting a Toronto-based team in their new NHL, the league gave the rights for the Toronto-based team to the Arena Company, which owned the Arena Gardens, an ice hockey venue where the team would play. This arrangement was supposed to be temporary, with the goal of the league resolving their dispute with Livingstone after the inaugural season. The team suited up in 1917 and didn't initially have an official name, sometimes called the Torontos, or borrowing the name of the team that they replaced, the Blue Shirts. But eventually, because of the Arena Company ownership and the Arena Gardens in which they played, they became known as the Arenas. After the first year, it became apparent that solving the issues of the previous league and Livingstone's ownership would not come easily. The Arenas became permanent NHL members and faced ongoing legal disputes with Livingstone, eventually causing quite a bit of financial difficulties. In 1919, the Arena Company was forced to declare bankruptcy, and the team was then sold to an ownership group that included the general manager of the Arenas and the owners of an amateur ice hockey team called St. Patrick. The team was then renamed to the Toronto St. Patricks.
Oh my God.
In 1927, the team was then sold again because of financial difficulties, and once the deal was finalized, the new owner, Conn Smythe, renamed the team to the Toronto Maple Leafs. The maple leaf was chosen because it is one of the national symbols of Canada. Its use to symbolize Canadian pride dates back to the 1700s. Smythe also fought in World War I and wore a maple leaf badge as a part of his uniform. He was proud of that symbol and wanted that same symbolism of Canadian patriotism for his team. And in case you are wondering why the Maple Leafs are spelled L-E-A-F-S and not L-E-A-V-E-S, according to a Washington Post article, which I'll link to below, this is actually linguistically accurate for the pluralizing of proper nouns, since the name comes from the maple leaf badge adorning World War I uniforms of Canadian soldiers. More than one of those badges is pluralized as leafs.
Why?
A pile of maple leaves is something to jump in the fall. And that is how the Toronto Maple Leafs got their name in 1927. In 1924, the NHL expanded into the United States for the first time, adding a team in Boston called the Boston Bruins. The first set of business for the new ownership and management was to come up with a team name. They chose the name Bruin, which is a name for brown bears famously used in the story Reynard Fox, where one character is named Bruin the Bear. Bruin is the Dutch word for brown, so fitting for a brown bear. This name also matched perfectly with the Bruins' original brown and yellow color scheme for their logo and jerseys, which was chosen to match the original owner's chain of grocery stores. Since joining the league in 1924, the Bruins have never changed their name and always remained in Boston. In 1926, the Chicago Blackhawks were founded when the NHL once again awarded a new franchise, this time to the city of Chicago. The team was originally named the Chicago Blackhawks, separating out black and hawks into two different words. The original owner had fought in World War I. His infantry division, the 86th Infantry Division, was nicknamed the Black Hawk Division. That name was chosen for the infantry division after a leader of the Sauk Native American tribe named Black Hawk.
So military meaning for two teams.
And is known for writing the first autobiography of a Native American that was published in the United States. Now, the NHL team continued to spell their name with Black Hawks being two separate words until 1986, when they shortened the name to the single word Blackhawks, giving us...
That's not really shortening it, though. I mean, I guess it shortens it, like, when you're reading it, but not when you say it. Because Blackhawks isn't, like, one word. It's two words, but okay.
Chicago Blackhawks. This name follows an American sports trend over the years of naming their team names after Native Americans. And as such, there has been similar controversy around the Chicago Blackhawks name. Whether or not it will eventually lead to a name change remains to be seen. Like I've discussed in previous videos with regards to the Cleveland Guardians name change and the Washington football team name changes, it is still worth pointing out here in a video about names the controversy that surrounds the names
Are they going to change that one?
American origin. If there is a name change in the future, I will provide an update video discussing that name change and why the new name was chosen.
Are they disputing that?
This is how they chose the name Chicago Blackhawks. Also founded in 1926, the Detroit Red Wings were founded as a new franchise in Detroit, Michigan. That year, the Western Hockey League had folded and the league agreed to sell the player contracts to the National Hockey League. The new Detroit franchise was given the players that formerly played for the Victoria Cougars in the WHL. Because of this acquisition, the original name of the Detroit Red Wings was the Detroit Cougars, in honor of the folded WHL franchise and their players. In 1930, the team was renamed to the Detroit Falcons, in part to try and relieve the team's financial woes and attract new fans to the games. However, unable to overcome those financial issues, the team was sold to a new owner in 1932. That new owner decided to rename the team yet again, this time to the Detroit Red Wings. The new owner had previously played hockey for an amateur team called the Montreal Hockey Club. Fun fact, that amateur team was actually the first Stanley Cup winners in 1893. The Montreal Hockey Club's nickname was the Winged Wheelers. Seeing an opportunity to both tie his new club to his old team and tie the name of his new team to the automotive industry of Detroit, the Detroit Red Wings were a natural fit. The new logo even featured the now iconic winged wheel, finally giving Motor City's NHL team the perfect name. The New York Rangers were also founded in 1926. Originally, they were founded to compete with the New York Americans, an NHL franchise that was founded a year earlier in 1925 and would eventually fold in 1942 during World War II, thus beginning the original sixth period of the NHL. The New York Americans played in Madison Square Garden, and the team was so successful in that very first year that Tex Rickard, the president of Madison Square Garden, wanted a team of his own. The next year, the NHL finally awarded him a team. He chose the name the New York Rangers because his name was Tex, and they were his Rangers. Texas Rangers. Get it? You get it. This is a play on words, of course, with the Texas Rangers Law Enforcement Agency in Texas, the very same ones that the Texas Rangers baseball team is named after, which you can check out in my video about how every MLB team got its name. Obviously, having a bit of a sense of humor about naming his team, the New York Rangers remain in New York today as one of the original six in the NHL.
Gotcha.
And with that, we have our original six. Much like the New York Americans, there are several franchises that were started and folded in the NHL up to this point. And seeking stability for their league starting in 1942, for the next 25 seasons, the NHL consisted solely of these six teams.
That's it?
Until they finally...
That had to be boring, I swear to God. Oh my God. To only watch six teams? Well, there couldn't have been that many games then, right? Unless they played each other a ton of times.
I had to expand once again. But before we talk about NHL expansion, we have to talk about one other team that was founded 2.5 decades before they joined the NHL, the Vancouver Canucks. Founded in 1945, the Vancouver Canucks began as a minor league hockey team based in Vancouver, Canada. Their name is derived from a mid-1800s political cartoon named Johnny Canuck. Johnny Canuck is a fictional folk hero lumberjack, and much like Uncle Sam in the United States, he is a personification of national identity that was especially popular during World War II. Johnny's last name was Canuck, which is an affectionate slang term for someone who is Canadian. The team continued to play in the minor leagues of hockey
until the
NHL moved to expand to Vancouver for the start of the 1970 season. A franchise was awarded to a new ownership group, and that ownership group bought the minor league Canucks and began adding new players in preparation for the NHL. Before the start of the 1970 season, the minor league team was folded and the ownership retained a handful of players to play on their new NHL franchise. This is a similar arrangement that we have seen many times in the MLS, where a team joins from a smaller league, retaining the identity of the team, but technically becoming an expansion franchise of a new league. Check out my video on how every MLS team got
Orlando
their
City
name to see more. So in 1970, the Vancouver Canucks officially joined the NHL as an expansion team, and they have remained the Canucks ever since. Now on to more NHL expansion. The NHL decided in the mid-1960s to double the size of the league, adding 6 new franchises in 1967. The Dallas Stars were one of those teams added in 1967. They were originally founded in Bloomington, Minnesota as the Minnesota North Stars. The name North Stars was chosen following a public naming contest and coincides nicely with the Minnesota state motto. Apology for butchering this to my French-speaking friends, L'Étoile du Nord, which is French for the Star of the North. In 1992, the ownership sought to move the team to Los Angeles, but the NHL was already in talks with Disney to bring a team to Anaheim named the Mighty Ducks. So the following year, the owner chose Dallas instead and moved the team to Dallas. Upon relocating to the south, North was dropped from the team name, giving us the Dallas Stars in 1993. Which fit perfectly with the Texas state nickname, the Lone Star State. Next, the Los Angeles Kings were also added in 1967. The owner held a naming contest and chose the name Kings because he liked the idea of having, quote, an air of royalty. He probably also wanted to harken back to the Pacific Coast Hockey League team from the 1940s named the Los Angeles Monarchs. Now, this owner also happened to own the Los Angeles Lakers at the time, so he chose similarly regal colors of purple and gold to fit his other team's color scheme. Over time, that would change to the colors and logos that we know now for the Los Angeles Kings. And if you're interested in finding out more about how the Lakers got their name, check out my other video on how every NBA team got its name. The Philadelphia Flyers were founded in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania as a part of the same 1967 expansion. It was decided that they would hold a contest to decide the team name, with the winner getting a brand spanking new 21-inch color TV. Internally, the team had a list they were already considering that included names like Sabres, Lancers, Raiders, Royals, Knights, Bashers, Bruisers, Blizzards, Ice Caps, Huskies, Keystones, and the Liberty Bells. The owner's sister on a trip to New York came up with another option, the Flyers. Flyers immediately became the name the team wanted. It fit with the pace of a hockey game and sounded great, the Philadelphia Flyers. It was decided that the winner of the naming contest, at this point more of a publicity stunt, would be one of the people who also happened to suggest the name Flyers. A 9-year-old boy was selected as the winner and given the TV. His entry spelt the name F-L-I-E-R-S. Deciding not to opt for the 9-year-old spelling, however, the team became the Philadelphia Flyers that we know today, taking the ice for the first time in 1967.
Misspelled it.
Another Pennsylvania-based franchise also joined the NHL in 1967, the Pittsburgh Penguins. The new ownership group had already decided that they wanted a name that started with
they
the
got a buff-ass penguin
to create that satisfying alliteration in their team name. The team also already had an arena to play in, which opened several years before the NHL franchise was awarded to Pittsburgh. The design of the arena had a large white dome, which led to it being nicknamed the Igloo. When the ownership group held a naming contest, 700 entries chose Penguins as their name of choice.
What would be the, who lives in igloos? What are those people called? Eskimos. The Pittsburgh Eskimos. That would have been the actual.
Was a natural fit, with the Pittsburgh Penguins playing home games in the igloos starting
Do penguins
in 1967.
live in igloos? I don't think so.
St. Louis Blues were also founded in 1967 in St. Louis, Missouri. The owner chose the name Blues after the famous 1914 blues song by W.C. Handy called St. Louis Blues. Because the song remains an important piece of blues music history and the name fits perfectly with the city of St. Louis, it made for an easy choice, giving us the NHL St. Louis Blues. And that does it for the 1967 expansion, doubling the NHL from the original 6 to a league of 12. Wait a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 11. Some of the more observant among you may already see where this is going.
Yeah, it is 11.
One of the 6 franchises awarded in 1967 no longer exists. Because this video would be way too long to focus on every NHL team that no longer exists, we'll only take a brief detour here because it's important to understanding other team names that we'll get to later. The final team added to the original 6 to double the league in 1967 was the California Seals.
The California
originally
Bananas.
Playing in the Western Hockey League.
The California Corn.
They were named the San Francisco Seals, and they chose that name in honor of a minor league baseball team that played in the Pacific Coast League. The name Seals is a perfect fit for the Bay Area because of the large population of seals. In 1966, the team became the California Seals as the team was relocated out of San Francisco across the bay to Oakland. And they kept that name when they joined the NHL a year later, giving us our 12 teams. Later that same year, after failing to bring in fans from San Francisco to Oakland, the ownership renamed the team to the Oakland Seals. In 1970, a new owner purchased the team and renamed the team to the Bay Area Seals.
Jesus
But
Christ.
after only 2 games, he changed his mind, renaming the team again to the California Golden Seals. Golden was added because California is the Golden State, and the colors of gold and green matched
2 games later,
the
he
owners
said, I got a
of
better
the franchise, the Oakland A's. Finally, still floundering, the franchise was moved to Cleveland, Ohio in 1976. The name they chose was the Cleveland Barons, which was the name of a previous hockey team in Cleveland. After only a couple of seasons, in 1978, the team was dissolved and merged in with the Minnesota North Stars. They are the last NHL team to cease operations, and depending on if you count the MLS, which I do, they are the most recent major North American sports team to fold as opposed to move to a new city. Again, not count.
In today's always-on world, people expect real-time performance.
Counting the MLS. Now, joining the same year as the Vancouver Canucks, in 1970, the NHL also added the Buffalo Sabres in Buffalo, New York. The owners wanted a unique name, specifically one that didn't play on the Buffalo Bison theme of other Buffalo-based teams. They held a contest and Sabres won, beating out names like Mugwumps, Buzzing Bees, and Flying Zeppelins.
The Mugwumps?
The owner chose the name because, quote, a saber is renowned as a clean, sharp, decisive, and penetrating weapon on offense, as well as a strong parrying weapon on defense. The Buffalo Sabres joined the league in the 1970s, and in 2010 they acquired a regional paper company in Scranton, Pennsylvania, making Dunder Mifflin a part of Sabre. Oh, wait.
All right.
Anyway.
My boy Dwight. I love The Office, by the way. It's actually Sabre, all right?
The Buffalo Sabres and the Vancouver Canucks in 1970 put the NHL at 14 teams. In 1971, a new hockey league was founded named the World Hockey Association. Their first season was in 1972, and they were founded as a direct competitor to the NHL, seeking to place teams in markets in both Canada and the United States that the NHL had left up for grabs. Eventually, in 1979, a merger was agreed upon between the two leagues, and 4 franchises joined the NHL. One of the teams founded in 1972 as a part of the WHA was the Arizona Coyotes.
Okay.
They were originally founded in Winnipeg, Manitoba.
The boys got horrible
as the Winnipeg
uniforms.
Jets. Jets was chosen as the name in recognition of Winnipeg's importance as a primary hub for the Royal Canadian Air Force. The Jets retained their name when they joined the NHL as a part of the NHL-WA merger in 1979. Then, in 1996, they were sold and relocated to Phoenix, Arizona. A contest was held to determine the team name. In second place was the Phoenix Scorpions, and the winning name was the Phoenix Coyotes. Both Scorpions and Coyotes are found all over Arizona. Oftentimes, scorpions are found in my own home, and I scream and ask my wife to kill it for me. So if you ask me, Coyotes is definitely the better name.
Yeah.
In 2014, under new ownership, the team was renamed to the Arizona Coyotes to promote statewide fandom, and has remained the Arizona Coyotes ever since. Another team founded in 1972 as a part of the WHA was the Carolina Hurricanes. Originally established in Boston, Massachusetts, the team was named the New England Whalers. Whalers was chosen both because of the historic industry of whaling in New England and because WHA, the name of the hockey league, is in the name Whalers. When the Whalers joined the NHL as a part of the merger in 1979, they were forced to move from Boston because the Boston Bruins NHL team was already there. Hartford, Connecticut was chosen as the new location, and the team was renamed to the Hartford Whalers. Because of Hartford, Connecticut's size, they had difficulties with their location. They were the smallest American market in the league. So the ownership decided to move the team for the start of the 1997 season. Raleigh, North Carolina was chosen as the destination, and upon relocation, the owner decided to name the team the Carolina Hurricanes. Hurricanes was chosen because of the prevalence of tropical storms known as hurricanes
They do
on
get
the
a lot of
Carolina
hurricanes.
coasts. And despite being located in North Carolina, the name of Colorado's MLS team, Cougars, Outlaws, Renegades, Storm, and Wranglers, but the winning name on the list was the Colorado Avalanche. Avalanche fits perfectly with Colorado's Rocky Mountains and the avalanches of snow that can happen on such large snow-covered mountains. And finally, the Edmonton Oilers are the last of our 4 WHA teams to join the NHL. They were founded in 1972 in Edmonton, Alberta, and were originally named the Alberta Oilers. Oilers was chosen as a name by the owners who had previously used it as a nickname for a junior hockey franchise that they also owned. Alberta, Canada has some of the largest oil reserves in the world, and it is the center of the Canadian oil industry. The reason they went with the more regional representation of Alberta is because there was originally going to be a WHA team in Calgary, Alberta, but they folded and moved before the league started. So the plan was for the Oilers to split time playing home games in both Calgary and Edmonton. However, this never actually happened, and the team was renamed after only 1 year to the Edmonton Oilers. In 1979, they joined the NHL as a part of the merger with the WHA, and they have remained the Edmonton Oilers ever since. Now, before the NHL merged with the WHA, and because the WHA was seeking to compete with the NHL added 4 teams in the 1970s to increase its competition and trying to stave off the WHA before ultimately merging in 1979. The first of these 4 teams are the Calgary Flames. The Calgary Flames were founded in Atlanta, Georgia in 1972 as the Atlanta Flames. When they were founded, the owner chose the name Flames after the historic event of General William Tecumseh Sherman's March to the Sea in the American Civil War, during which the city of Atlanta was nearly burned down, marking what many considered to be the beginning of the end of the Civil War. In 1980, the team was sold to new ownership, who moved the team to Calgary. Originally holding a Name the Team contest, the ownership decided to instead retain the name Flames and simply change the logo from an A to a C, giving us the Calgary Flames in 1980. Also in 1972, the New York Islanders were founded on
I always
Long
forget
Island
that the
in
Islanders
New
are a
York.
team.
Originally, many thought they would become the Long Island Ducks after a minor league hockey team that was also from Long Island. But the franchise chose to stick with Islanders because it gave their team a unique identity belonging solely to Long Island. And that is where they have remained ever since. In 1974, the New Jersey Devils were founded as the Kansas City Scouts in Kansas City, Missouri. Scouts was chosen as the name for the hockey team after a famous sculpture in Kansas City's Penn Valley Park called the Scout. The Scout depicts a Sioux Native American on horseback surveying the land, and it was dedicated as a permanent memorial to local tribes in 1922. After 2 seasons of little success on the ice and struggling to draw fans, the team moved to Denver in 1976, becoming the Colorado Rockies. Like the baseball team that would later expand to Denver in 1993, the name Rockies was chosen because of the Rocky Mountains that extend north from New Mexico through all of western Colorado, all the way up through British Columbia in Canada. However, still lacking stability as a franchise, having had 10 coaches in 8 seasons in 2 cities, in 1982 the team was relocated a final time to New Jersey and renamed the New Jersey Devils. The name was chosen by a fan contest that over 10,000 people participated in, and the winning name, the New Jersey Devils, was selected after a creature of American folklore named the Jersey Devil. It beat out names like Americans, Blades, Colonials, Lightning, Meadowlarks, Coastals, Generals, Gulls, Jaguars, and Patriots. The Jersey Devil, or the Leeds Devil, is a creature said to inhabit the Pine Barrens of southern New Jersey, and is said to look kind of like a kangaroo mixed with a bat and has horse-like hooves. Now, whether or not the Jersey Devil is good on ice skates still remains to be seen. The final of the 4 teams that were founded to increase competition with the WHA was the Washington Capitals, which was founded in Washington, D.C. in 1974. Following a contest, the name Capitals was chosen as it fit perfectly with the team's location in Washington, D.C., the capital of the United States. Sometimes sticking with the obvious choice actually makes for a great team name. So remember when the Golden Seals moved to Cleveland, became the Barons, then merged with the North Stars? Well, ever since the Golden Seals had moved from the Bay Area, there were attempts to bring an NHL team back to the region. Even an attempt to move the North Stars in the 1980s, which would have essentially had the Golden Seals do a full circle back to where they started. Because the owners who moved the Seals to Cleveland partially owned the Minnesota North Stars, a deal was made where the owners sold their shares in the North Stars, received an expansion team from the NHL, and took part of the North Stars roster of players to be a part of the new expansion team, essentially returning home in spirit the team that left the Bay Area in 1976. In 1991, the deal was approved and the San Jose Sharks were born. Over 5,000 names were submitted in a contest, and the original winner was the Blades, beating out Breakers, Breeze, Condor, Fog, Gold, Golden Gators, Golden Skaters, Grizzlies, Icebreaker.
Golden Gators, Golden Skaters.
Knights, Redwoods, Sea Lions, and Waves. The owners, however, paused at the name Blades. They didn't like their team name potentially being associated with weapons, even if a blade is the name of the part of the ice skate that contacts the ice. So they instead chose the second place name, the Sharks. Sharks are often found off the coast of Northern California in an area known as the Red Triangle. This location has so many sharks that somewhere around 11% of all confirmed great white shark attacks on humans have occurred in this Red Triangle area.
God.
The triangle on the shark's logo is meant to be a reference to this red triangle off the coast of the Bay Area. Ironically, the California Golden Seals basically returned home after 2.5 decades and took the name of their most fierce predator. Not Nashville, we'll get to them later. The original Ottawa Senators were founded in 1883 in Ottawa, Canada, and in 1917 they were one of the original 4 NHL teams. They were very successful, having won 11 Stanley Cups, but facing financial issues after the Great Depression, they relocated to St. Louis for a single season before dissolving as a professional team,
Eagles.
though a semi-pro team continued until 1954. When the NHL was looking to add 2 teams in 1992, returning a team to Ottawa became a goal of the city, with a potential ownership group starting a Bring Back the Senators campaign. The campaign was very successful and secured over 11,000 season ticket pledges from fans, showing their intent to purchase season tickets once the city was awarded a team. In 1992, the NHL awarded an expansion team to Ottawa, and the Ottawa Senators were reborn once again in the NHL. The name Senators comes from that original hockey team and was chosen as the name because Ottawa is the capital of Canada. In the Canadian Parliament, the upper house is called the Senate, and those appointed to the Senate are called senators. The other team added in 1992 is the Tampa Bay Lightning. Founded in the Tampa Bay area, a regional term encompassing the cities of Tampa, St. Petersburg, and Clearwater, the ownership group chose the name Lightning. Tampa Bay is often called the lightning capital of North America, and the area stretching from Tampa to Orlando is called Lightning Alley because of the high density of lightning strikes in that area, often reaching as high as 50 strikes per square mile per year. So the ownership chose a name unique to Tampa Bay, and they're part of Florida. One of 2 teams added in 1993, the Anaheim Ducks were founded by the Walt Disney Company in Anaheim, California. Capitalizing on the success of their 1992 film, The Mighty Ducks, Disney chose to name their new NHL team the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim. They even had the same logo as the fictional Pee Wee hockey team from the movie. Unfortunately, Emilio Estevez wasn't available to coach. Bummer.
Damn, they couldn't get Gordon Bombay, bro. That boy would have been having them triple deacon all over the goddamn ice.
The team was purchased by a new owner. Ahead of the 2006 season, he rebranded the team to the Anaheim Ducks. The logo was then changed to the D-shaped duck foot logo that we have today.
Oh, I thought it was an arrow.
The other team added in 1993 was the Florida Panthers. Based in the greater Miami area, the team opted for the statewide representation of Florida in its name. The owner chose the name Panther to highlight Florida's state animal, the Florida Panther. The Florida Panther is an endangered North American cougar that lives in South Florida. And as of 2017, there are approximately only 230 Florida Panthers left in the wild. After attempting to lure the New Jersey Devils to Nashville in 1995, Nashville was awarded its own NHL franchise for the start of the 1998 season. The ownership first revealed their logo, a saber-toothed tiger, and they invited fans to vote on potential names. The reason the saber-toothed tiger was chosen as the logo is because of the bones of a saber-toothed tiger that were found in Nashville in 1971 during the construction of a skyscraper. The runners-up in the voting were Ice Tigers, Fury, and Attack. And the winner was
Nashville
the Predators, giving us the Nashville Predators in 1998. In 1999, the NHL awarded a franchise to the city of Atlanta for a second time after the Atlanta Flames left for Calgary in 1980. The name for this new franchise was the Atlanta Thrashers.
Yeah.
They held a fan vote and Thrashers actually finished second, but ownership decided to opt for Thrashers after the Georgia state bird, the brown thrasher. Atlanta Thrashers was actually one of the names considered for the Atlanta Falcons of the NFL. To find out more about that, be sure to check out my video on all of the NFL team names. Now, because of financial and ownership issues, the team was often rumored to be on the cusp of relocation, with cities such as Kansas City or Quebec City as potential candidates. Ultimately, the team was sold to an ownership group that was looking to bring a team back to Winnipeg. The ownership group had previously attempted to relocate the Arizona Coyotes, which were originally the Winnipeg Jets franchise, but eventually they reached an agreement to purchase the Thrashers and relocate them to Winnipeg for the 2011 season.
Winnipeg
Upon
Thrashers.
relocation, the team was to be renamed, with Jets being the obvious choice and a fan favorite. Other potential names included the Manitoba Moose, the Wild, and the Falcons.
I'm gonna end it right there. Hey, we're gonna end it right there. All right, the Winnipeg Manitoba Moose. Alright, that's gonna do it for today, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in today. Alright, this is Almighty Reacts. I'll probably do a video on Game 4. Yeah, most likely. I'll most likely do a video on Game 4 for you guys. Again, I appreciate you guys always. Thank you for the support. Catch you guys in the next video. Peace.